Bruce Willis continues to be greedy and lazy. And we got Star Wars anime. That's about all that's going on right now. Besides the impending Disney Civil War, of course. Welcome to Midnight's Edge in the morning. It's the middle of the week. We've made it to hump day. I'm Tom Connors. With me, as always, is the boss man, Andre.
Greetings, Tom, and greetings, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.
It's morning.
It's the morning.
It's the morning. And we also have Mike, the Mexican Iron Man.
Free virtual tacos for everybody that showed up on Wednesday. Today we have the Skeletor special, where your packet of tacos comes with some family planning advice and some other interesting things in order to make you a better person. Yeah.
So you're saying it helps you do better?
Yes, you can do more, do better, do more better, I don't know how that stupid saying went, but whatever. Yeah. You'll learn more today, everybody.
Yes, so it'll be an interesting learning experience today, regardless of what time it is. 6, for instance, is in the morning time zone. There, it's a beautiful morning. Gran Wasu 42 has all of the emojis ready, which is awesome. And Darius Münchhausen sent us a super sticker, so thanks for that. And then we have plenty other regulars and some new names joining us. We have Mega Kurgan is here. Tim Hayes is here. Good morning. Sailor Sonic 78 is here. D-Bud Martin is here. STR Red Wolf also sends a super chat saying, "Good morning, afternoon, evening all. Please delete as appropriate." Ican has taco.
Yes.
Yes,
taco.
Absolutely. Go for it. And we also have representing Denmark, Erik Runge Madsen, which is awesome. So yeah, everyone represent wherever you are from. And I'm just gonna check that if we didn't miss any super chats behind the scenes here before we start getting rolling. So Tom, what's new?
Not much. It's been. I think we're kind of in a calm before a storm here.
Yep.
I think the stuff that you and Script Doctor and Cameron have kind of the conclusions you kind of made and the theories that you have, I think, are very sound, and I think we're about to see some very exciting things. Of course, it's going to take some time for developments, as it's been developing over time. And we had a nice long talk about it last night on Midnight's Edge After Dark, and I thought it was a very, very good conversation between the boys, and we broke it all down pretty well, and we've been talking a little bit about it, so I think that's going to be something coming up here. But other than that, I mean, it's been pretty quiet. We're in that transition between summer and fall. It's there's not much going on because everything's shutting down. Hey, Script, I sent you the link if you're not in the office.
Yeah, he is in the office.
Of course he is.
So yeah, and he's having a busy day there. But it's awesome that you're listening in, and if you should have the time to join, of course you're welcome. And meanwhile, try not to get too stressed out in the office. Always sounds. Plus, I have some great news from the YouTube side of things. The super chat are working again here behind the scenes, so we don't have to go.
I think they started working last night because I was watching Nick Arcada, and I think he said something about them working again.
Yeah,
he's like, it only took you 5 days to get it fixed, or something like that.
Yeah. Which I kind of understand because like I've done a fair bit of product development, and that obviously they had like an update or something that went to hell, and that update, which evidently wasn't tested well enough, was probably months in the making, and then they have to make a fix, and they can't just deploy a fix so easily. Then they have to test the fix and everything. So yeah, if anything, I'm not going to say I'm impressed that it only took 5 days, but I'm not surprised that it took as much as 5 days.
I just want to say this: I love this fucking icon and name Reservoir Frog, you are awesome.
That is cool. Very, very cool.
So is he Mr. Green? That's my question.
Yeah, that is likely Mr. Green right there.
How YouTube does these rollouts continues to baffle me. And when I was at ExxonMobil in the accounting controllers group, I did I ran the implementation teams for when we would upgrade, SAP, JD Edwards, all these big, huge, massive accounting systems. And we always ran at least 60 days worth of server data. And we always tested the crap out of that thing before we turned it on because we didn't want any surprises at all with anything. But hey, we're in a new. It's only the creators all across the planet that are impacted by this. It's only people that are giving their blood, sweat, and tears, like you guys, to be creators. It just baffles me how these people don't understand how taking things out can just really, really hurt the ability to be successful for us.
Yeah,
here on YouTube.
Well, they don't care.
No, they don't care.
Overkill 161 cares though and sent us a super sticker.
Yes, a poop super sticker or a pooper sticker. So yeah, thanks so much for that. And Don Ramos says for $5, mic check. And
Mike's right here.
Hopefully that test is passed.
And Nico says it has to be Mr. Green. I agree.
Yes, Nico Pursiainen, straight from Finland by the looks of it on the name.
And Kevin Smith Star Wars. We're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Star Wars rumors and when to take those rumors with a grain of salt, and when to take rumors with 10 truckloads of salt.
Yeah. Well, and lately, that's the thing is, we could fill the morning up with all kinds of bullshit, nonsense, tabloid trash, right? It's not too hard. Just go to, what is it, giant freaking robot or got this covered.
But the problem is that a giant freaking robot sometimes, actually more often than not, they are on money real. And
they're stealing it from somewhere else, like Mikey Sutton.
That's what I mean. And the same thing with We Got This Covered. So here's the thing: it's some of the scoops they get from elsewhere, like Mikey Sutton, Small Screen, and other places, and then they tend to be right. Others, there's less secure sourcing for, other than their own sources, which they claim are always accurate, but they never are. So you just have to be really specific every single time, which makes it more difficult.
I mean, we could make up our own rumors if we didn't have standards like the two of you guys have said. You guys have set high bars and high standards. I mean, what people don't know about, hey, everybody in chat, is that these guys hold on to a lot. I mean, they try to get breaking news out, but you guys hold on to a lot of stuff until you can confirm it. There's so many things that we've heard that we haven't said anything about. Right. And then they end up, sometimes they come to be true or not, but you guys do your homework. Both of you guys do. And so that's why this is such a great channel to be a member in. Oh, by the way, member plug, shameless. If you're not a member, become a member. We do great member streams on the weekend. And if you want to know the origins of Midnight Sid, there's some great videos. And if listening to Andre read stories is entertaining, then
he reads us bedtime stories and Dr.
It's so freaking awesome. So think about it. Patreon members.
No, he really doesn't. But now that I think about it, I want Andre to read Dr. Seuss.
What? No, let him. No,
Green eggs and ham.
No. How about I read Norwegian bedtime stories, like the Norwegian fairy?
What is that, like trolls eating kids if they don't go to bed?
Well, actually, you're not too far off.
Wait, Andre, can you read me a bedtime story of how Kevin Smith is coming for me and he's got new version and and Mike and Skeletor is coming for you at night. It'll be like a horror movie.
No, but I can read you stories about how the king will throw you into the snake den if you fail to live up to his challenge.
Wow.
Because we have that in our fairy tales.
That sounds like some shit out of fucking He-Man.
Yeah. Also, the king, for instance, he'll give you challenges, right? Stuff like that.
And snake what?
The snake pit.
Who will throw you in?
The king. Yeah, the king. The king of Norway in the fairy tales. Yeah, the king of the land.
Well, it's like Skeletor.
Well, he's worse. I mean, Skeletor, he's not going to like skin your back.
I
and
guarantee you there's something in Snake Mountain called the Snake Pit. I mean,
oh, yeah.
Take them to the Snake Pit. Gundam Warrior. How you doing? Says headline. Soulless Corporation Animation Princess Factory hires talented animation studios to save Star Wars after turning it into a princess factory. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. That is very astute. And then we also have, well, Six says she has very high standards, and that's why I hang out with all of you fine people. Well, that's kind of how I feel. So hello, Kenneth. You're one of those people. Who we're always glad to see in the chat, along with the rest of y'all. Lonnie Holcomb is another one of those people. Says Bruce ain't lazy, he's just old, like on Social Security old, and I don't blame him for the deep fake. Well, we'll get into this.
We're gonna get into that very soon.
This is something that I think is very interesting, beyond just the the greedy and lazy part of Bruce, because that's a famous quote from Sly Stallone when he was asked about Bruce Willis being in, I believe it was the second or third Expendables. I think it was the third one, because he wanted like $1 million for like a day's worth of work. And Sly's like, fuck you.
What? You need to get out of bed?
He called him greedy and lazy.
Oh my God. For $1 million for a day of shooting? Are you kidding me?
Just for a cameo.
Get out of here. So like let's wake up, take a shower. Like he doesn't even have to like go and like harvest the tortillas in the morning at 5 in the morning. And
I guarantee you Bruce has plenty of other people to do that for him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dang.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of fun stories about Bruce Willis being a tyrant over entire movie productions.
I believe Kevin Smith has a few of those stories as well.
Well, that's the thing, is Kevin's stories, you could listen to him and go like, okay, I only hear one side of the story, but there's a lot of people who've reiterated that, yeah, that sounds just like him. Like the guy who directed Live Free or Die Hard had like a nervous breakdown because of him and shit. I've heard some horror stories about Bruce. Bruce decides when he wants to shoot, first of all. And then, if he don't want to do a bunch of lines, he'll give them to everybody else. And then, I guess, for instance, a perfect example is during Live Free or Die Hard, he didn't want to do a bunch of exposition lines, so they kept getting shoved into Kevin Smith's scene. So that's why Kevin Smith's scene's 10 minutes long, because they put all the exposition in his scene. So then Kevin had to go rewrite that whole scene to make it fit. So that's because Bruce didn't want to shoot all this other shit. Yeah. So there's plenty of stories out there about Bruce. We'll get into that though. But Joe Stark says Andre reads Mio Min Mio.
Yeah, that's actually a story by. Yes, you did. That was pretty good. That's a story by Astrid Lindgren, a Swedish author that everyone in the Nordics will be very well familiar with. I'd have to do a spontaneous English translation then. But yeah, that's going to be a while. We're going to have to run through all of the Norwegian fairy tales first. So yeah.
Well, then only Wimpy. Am I saying that right? Only one Wimpy. Wi-Fi?
Only one Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. There we go. That makes more sense. Hey, I want to hear those Norwegian stories. Well, become a member. There you go.
Yeah. Become a Chrome level member, and after we're done with Norse mythology, we'll get straight into Norwegian fairy tales.
And you can learn about the beginnings of Midnight's Edge. Andre starts with when fire was created back in caveman times, and then he says, and we were making the fire when we thought of Midnight's Edge.
No, he'd be like, the Vikings were the first to discover fire. Fuck what everybody else tells you.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, they were the first to discover America. Fuck what everyone else tells you.
Leif Erikson. Yeah.
Exactly. There's so much archaeological evidence that has now come up. It's astounding, Andre. Astounding. I've learned a lot about that in the last couple of years. I might get shocked.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Rob Altus says virtual actors could be paid in virtual tacos. Aha! That's why Mike is investing in them.
Oh, buy your stock now.
They're like the next Bitcoin.
And with that, let's get into that first story, shall we?
Yeah, Bruce Willis, I guess, apparently is in a movie, which isn't new news. That's not news. I mean, he makes movies. He is an actor, right? But recently, this come out. he's in a Russian film or Russian commercials where he's deep faked. He's not even in the damn thing. I don't know if we should show it because we'll probably get a claim. But the story goes like this out of Slash Film or Film Slash, whatever they call themselves anymore.
Slash Film.
Bruce Willis can be a very good actor when he tries. That's true. Unfortunately, he hasn't really tried in a long time. That's very true as well. When was the last genuinely really good Bruce Willis performance? That's a good question. Where he was clearly engaged with the material and not just cashing a paycheck. Looper, perhaps. Movie that's almost 10 years old. Or perhaps Moonrise Kingdom, which is almost a decade now. It looks like Willis's laziness has transcended film into commercials, with the actor agreeing, I was trying to combine those words, to let the Russian company Megaphone, I'm assuming that's probably what's pronounced, use a deep fake of his face for a series of commercials. I continue to be uneasy about deep fakes, a technology that seems like it can only be used for evil instead of good. The tech, which has become increasingly more effective, is able to digitally drop someone's face onto another's body. And if you don't think that's just a little unsettling, I don't know what to tell you. In any case, one actor is using deepfake tech to his advantage. That actor, Bruce Willis, perhaps the laziest man in Hollywood. In commercials above, Megaphone, which Google tells me is the second largest mobile phone operator and the third largest telecom operator in Russia. Willis can be seen with Russian actor Azamat Muzagalov. Am I saying that right? Probably not.
Musagalov? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, close enough. Sort of. It's actually just Willis's face on another actor's body. You can see the behind-the-scenes image of the actor playing Willis here. At this point, I should add that the main source for this news is a Russian publication translated into English, so we don't have 100% confirmation of exactly what's going on here. But the commercial clearly exists, and is clearly using a creepy deepfake of Bruce Willis's face. And if an interview with Vasily Bolshakov, close enough, director for the brand marketing communications at Megaphone, is to be believed, Willis signed off on this whole thing. He would have to, or else Megaphone would be about to face a huge lawsuit. Did you want me to read the rest of this here?
Yeah, just go through the gist of it.
Okay, here's a very risky idea. The translated interview with Bolshakov. I think I'm saying that right. All negotiations with Bruce Willis were conducted by our team. It was a very risky idea, but surprisingly, the discussion on collaboration was quick and productive. We told Bruce Willis about Megaphone and the idea of the project. The actor was interested in the brand and our approach to organizing production. She's like, yeah, give me some of that Russian money. The deal includes a whole series of commercials featuring the Bruce Willis deepfakes with Bolshakov, adding that the deepfake was created using face generation technology, which is based on neural network algorithms. To do this, the engineers of the deepfake studio selected a large amount of photos and video material with the participation of celebrities. It turned out 34,000 units of content from which neural network created the image of Bruce's character. So this isn't even from like one of his scans for a movie or something. They did this all on their own, it sounds like. So he was so lazy he didn't even have himself scanned and sent, then the information sent over. As weirdly humorous as all this sounds, and as lazy as it continues to make Willis seem, I also have to hand it to him. Someone reached out to him and said, hey, can we pay you a huge chunk of change and you to not... Hey, can we pay you a huge chunk of change to do no actual work? That's the American dream right there. And it comes from Russia. Who could turn down such an offer? Not you, not me, not Bruce Willis. That's for damn sure. So, yeah, I think what's more important about this whole thing is what Andre is going to get to right away is how scary this is for movies in general, not just commercials. Because the commercial thing's been around for a while. Like, they put Fred Astaire dancing with a fucking vacuum in commercials like what, 30 years ago? I'm like the only one here.
What are you talking about? I thought you called on Andre to speak first.
I was muted, so sorry about that. But anyway, I actually thought it was like funny that we kind of predicted this, because the last time we spoke about deepfaking, we specifically brought up Bruce Willis. And we mentioned
this is literally okay. So I was going to jump in, but you called on Andre, so that's why I hesitated. Okay, as a fan of Midnight's Edge, okay, because I know I come on the show and partying whatever, but as a fan of Midnight's Edge, you guys have brought this up 3 or 4 times on different live streams over the last 3 to 6 months, maybe, I think. And I feel
more like the year
that I know of. At a minimum, and that's why on my Twitter feed this morning, when I saw what you were gonna, our great editor-in-chief Andre, when I saw what the topic was today, I'm like, son of a gun. And I put up on my Twitter feed, I'm like, more Midnight's Edge predictions are coming true, and today is the day, ladies and gentlemen. And I was one of the ones, I think it was just 2 weeks ago when this came up, and I just happened to be on for about an hour, and I pushed back and I said, no, this can't be like a trend. And Tom came right back. It says, Mikey, watch. And son of a gun. I mean, this is hardcore stuff. This is, the Hollywood executives already think talent is not needed and this and that. I mean, this is really shocking to me that this is what's going on. I mean, there's so many people in Hollywood that would die for any kind of commercial opportunity. And yet you can take somebody who's got some brand notoriety to their name. They can step in, command huge fees, and not get off the freaking sofa and go play and do whatever they want, and not put any energy into their craft, any energy into the project, and not add anything unique. This is all, it's all about, coding. It's all coded. So I'm going to call it. You guys were right. I was wrong. I was wrong as a fan for not believing the inevitable, and you guys called it like you saw it, and bam.
Yeah, it's Tom, I believe we have a meme for that.
We do have a meme for that.
Here's what you guys get from me today. Here. Good job.
Well, cheers. Round of applause are always good, but I prefer Walton.
I fucking knew it! Oh!
Yeah, no, I thought it fun, and we brought up specifically when we said, like, you wait and see for Bruce Willis to deepfake his entire performance. And granted, this is a commercial and not a movie, but still, here we are. And let's be clear about it. There are so many examples of actors doing these weird commercials for channels and products all around the world. I mean, just back in the 90s, Schwarzenegger, he collected a fortune by doing all these weird Japanese commercials and stuff like that. So, this is like nothing new. What is new is that the actor didn't bother showing up. Because when Schwarzenegger did all these weird things in the 90s, these really weird ass, just check them out on YouTube. They're weird. But even so, he showed up on set and he humiliated himself for the enjoyment of the Japanese. This thing here, it only required like Bruce Willis to be tied up or something. Like, it wasn't difficult at all. Like, he could have gone there, could have filmed that in like an hour. But I was like, nah, an hour? That's hard work. They were going to come all the way to my door. Still hard work. I have to get out.
Didn't I even make a joke about something? He'll even get somebody to do his own voice if he could.
Yep, you did. You did.
Like, if Bruce don't have to show up to do anything, he won't.
Yeah, just pay for his resemblance.
Like,
or get just paid for his resemblance, rather.
If you pretend I'm there, then that's the same thing, ain't it?
Yeah. Well, at this point, with everything we're hearing about how easy he is to work with and everything, then yeah, probably it is.
Who the fuck does he think he is, Marlon Brando?
Yes.
Well, he probably thinks he's Bruce Willis, and there's no one like him, and he's not entirely wrong about
Marlon
that.
Brando is the only person I could think of who even should have the audacity to even try to attempt that shit.
Well, to just look at the Island of Dr. Moreau. I mean, that's like his masterpiece for like not caring. That's like, okay, this thing is going to be a disaster anyway, so let's really go out to make it a disaster.
Well, that's one of my
You've got to
favorite
give him
stories.
some credit for that, at least.
Well, that's one of my favorite stories of all time, though, is when they told, Richard Donner, like, be careful with Brando. He will talk you into anything he can. And they're like, he's like, what do you mean? He's like, if he can talk you into having you film a suitcase and him do the voiceover, he will do it. That's the same thing here, is basically Bruce Willis talking you into filming a suitcase and him doing the voiceover. And in this case, he didn't even have to do the voiceover.
He just had to not get out of bed and collect the paycheck. So yeah, you have to give him kudos for his business idea and businessman acumen. I mean, very few people can do that.
Tree Rock Creations in the chat stream has a couple of comments I've been going back and forth with him on. He says, can deepfakes sync lips to different languages? Imagine Bruce Willis speaking Spanish. Well,
they're working on that. And yeah, I think so, because that's like one of the things that they're going to use, like deepfake technology for dubbing around the world. Because as it is right now, like many places around the world dub. Like personally, I live in subtitle land and I'm very happy about it. But an issue in countries where they do dubbing is that the lips generally don't sync, and like some do a better job at that syncing than others. Like the Italians and the Spanish, they do a great job trying to sync it. The Germans, not necessarily so much, and like some places in Eastern Europe, I'm not going to name countries, but there you have like one guy narrating the entire movie. So. No, I kid you not. Like,
no, I know what you're talking about, but like, this is something we also reported on about the. We got into it a little bit about the whole where they have the technology now that they can make the lips match whatever language, and they actually use an algorithm that uses the actor's original voice in that language. Remember?
Oh yeah.
So like we're there, like all this stuff is there to where these actors don't have to do anything. And it reminds me of the conversation we had with Tunnicliffe. And this also goes with a comment that you pointed out here, Mike, with from Tree Rock Creations, where he asks, are deepfakes the new makeup for actors and actresses? Yes. This is exactly what Gary was talking about. Gary Tunnicliffe, of course, is a makeup artist and director and filmmaker. And he said flat out, like, this is the future. Like you make up your actor one time, you scan them in the computer, and then for the rest of the shoot, you just deep fake that makeup on so they don't have to spend 4 to 8 hours in a makeup chair all day, getting the makeup on. So it saves all kinds of time, all kinds of trouble, especially if you have an actor who's like allergic to the spirit gum or the latex or something like that. That can also help, and like Stephanie brought up here that like, yeah, this is pretty much what Bill Murray was doing in Lost in Translation. But the difference there was, that's based on the idea that a lot of these actors will go over to these other countries and do these commercials for big money.
Right.
And they would actually go and do them. And the beauty for them was pre-internet, nobody knew these existed. Right. But now, they're out there like, Arnold Schwarzenegger doing Japanese commercials and shit.
Well, I got 2 questions or 2 points. One is that, so with this problem, well, I don't know if it's a problem, but what this definitely enables is you take someone with a good brand name, and now one of the biggest problems that actors have is scheduling, right? I mean, hey, I got to turn this role down because I got to go over here and do this, or and maybe they're still needed for a full feature film, but at least now they can take their brand name and make more money on commercials and maybe shorts or other stuff or TV show. I mean, I don't know. They can get these cameo appearances done. The point of the matter is they can make more money in the same timeline at the same time. And although my brother Script mentions that it's in the pioneer stage, but yeah, they'll save hours in makeup. So there's post-production. This is just a huge time warp savings. I do, however, say the people that are going to get thrown under the bus, though, are by and large actors across the board in many ways, because this is a tool, obviously, for the few and not the many, because there's no point deep faking somebody that's not incredibly bankable.
Yeah, you have that issue. But what that does is open the door for a lot more options for actors. And that's where Gary came in and was talking about how, you scan an actor when they're young and you can have them forever be young on film,
have them at different stages in their life.
Exactly.
And also, there's other ways. Like, for instance, you don't have to need it for someone that's terribly bankable. Imagine like ensemble pictures, and it's difficult to film everyone that you need in the same time, but you need like one of the non-bankable to be there in the background or something. With deep faking, you can just have some random nobodies be there on set and then deep fake whoever you need onto them afterwards. Imagine how easy it would be like to film Avengers movies. I mean, they have to use all kinds of tricks and everything to hide the fact that all the actors aren't there at the same time as it is. I mean, it would be easier with deep faking.
Yeah, George Lucas would have had a field day with this.
Oh, hell yeah. It's probably a good thing that he's mostly retired by the time it became viable.
Probably.
I imagine how he must be kicking himself.
He could actually deep fake that now. Michael Miller says, can we deep fake a butt on Brie Larson? Maybe. I think she's been working on that. She's been working really hard on a lot of the things.
Supposedly Amber hasn't, though. But.
No, well, you know, she only works her butt out on the bed. Oh, that was a bad joke. Anyway.
Boom, bam.
Moving on here, but no, I think that this is something that I think Andre's making a great point. I think that's one of the ways Hollywood is going to try and do their best to save some costs. It'll be, like you said, Mike, it'll make actors be able to be just about anywhere, even when they're on the other side of the world. Deep fake technology has reached a point where it's very good. Especially if you like, I think you were just bringing it up before, Andre, about like some of the ones that are out on the internet, like especially like the Tom Cruise ones where they found that one guy. You know, it's just it's uncanny, and it is dangerous. We've reached a point where you can't believe anything you see anymore.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like in The Running Man.
Exactly. Yes,
you can no longer believe video footage, or everything can be faked.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I this is something that's definitely going to become more of a thing. Because isn't there a movie now coming out where they've got I can't remember which actor is going to be in it, but it's obviously an actor who's no longer with us, and I can't remember who it was, but I think they're just talking about, wasn't it Steve McQueen or something like that? Who was it?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember, but it's in some movie coming out. They're trying to get the rights to have some actor in it, and I can't remember now. But no, and even they had, what was it, Humphrey Bogart way back in like Last Action Hero, and they had all the stuff from Forrest Gump. I mean, this is nothing new. We've seen it in movies before, but this is a bit different in a sense, because we're going to start seeing actors that are still alive, I think.
You're talking about Bill Hurt?
No, they had to use a similar stuff to finish what was it? No, James Dean. That's it. James Dean's supposedly gonna be in a movie. That's right. Thank you, Anthony. And I don't know how far along that is, if it's actually gonna happen, but I think his people signed off on it, so it probably will. I don't know. I mean, do I have a problem with that? I mean, that's one of those debates that's been around for a while, right? Oh, and Tales from the Crypt also had Bogey in it. Yeah, that's right. I mean, this opens up a lot of doors. Here's a good point, though. Could deep fake, Michael J. Fox into a Back to the Future sequel? That's the kind of thing that this technology could be used for.
This is also something that I mentioned before, that just wait for some producer to decide that, we're going to fix Back to the Future. We're going to now go and to all the actors, now that we know what they looked like in different stages of their life, we're going to deep fake how they actually looked onto them and remove those problematic makeup effects of 1985. In principle, yeah, you could totally do that. And you could even, if you wanted to, do Romance of the Pink Panther starring Peter Sellers, not directed by Edwards, because that might be an issue, but yeah, like, you can totally do anything. And I think that it's just going to be a matter of years before we start seeing that. Now, I don't think that they're going to bring back any of the old-time classics like Humphrey Bogart and stuff like that. I do not see that happening, for the very simple reason that most modern audiences aren't familiar with them. I do, however, think that the audiences or the movies and the actors that people are growing up with right now, that they absolutely can use deepfaking to keep those actors young beyond their years. Like, for instance, imagine the next MCU, not the current one, but the next equivalent of the MCU, the next big thing, the thing that they can keep going for a decade or more. I mean, look for instance at Scarlett Johansson when she started in Iron Man 2 back in 2011 versus now. It's been a decade, 10 years. And she still got it. She can still play that part, but for how long? And the same is true for all of them. I mean, Mark Ruffalo, he's starting to be gray. Like, they're all good for now, but can they keep playing those roles for another decade? Perhaps not. I mean, at some point, the human lifespan really isn't that long. And you're going to be started seeing like really old Avengers before long. So for like the next thing, I wouldn't be surprised if they start like deep faking the actors really, really early on, keeping them like kind of like frozen for 15 years or something while the actors are
algorithmically frozen.
Yeah, exactly.
And Bryant Barr has a great question here. Says, "What is wrong with new talent? Nothing, but the studios, they would rather spend a bunch of money to deep fake Bruce Willis into a movie because they know you'll go see a movie that has a deep fake Bruce Willis than some, unknown actor. They would rather take that chance. It's the same thing we're seeing in Hollywood across the board. They would rather take a chance with Star Wars and all these other things that everybody knows than they would something new.
I can give you another example. So let's go 5-10 years forward in time to a point where Chris Evans is pushing 50. And then they want to do a new Captain America movie. And he is so identified with that role that normally they would recast, but he's just too identified with it. So let's bring him back deep-faked, looking like he did in 2015. Or better yet, Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Darth Scipio says it. Chris Evans could have played Cap for 10 more years. Or imagine Wolverine. With that, they could actually with deepfaking, they could actually use the image of Hugh Jackman, keep him frozen in time, and use that deepfaked image the next 20 years. They could Hugh Jackman could even sell his image to the studio and just make sure his family is paid forevermore, and they could use that image the next 50 years. And truly make a Wolverine that doesn't age within the continuity of the movies.
Don't let Jesse hear you say that. He will blow a gasket. He fucking hates Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's
I don't blame him, but Hollywood thinks that absolutely everyone loves Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and with deepfaking, they actually could make it so that Wolverine doesn't age. That age passes for everyone else out here in the real world, but on film, you could have a 40-year-old Hugh Jackman play Wolverine forever. That's the power and opportunity of deepfaking. I'm not saying it's a good thing.
No,
but that's how it is.
I'm not saying we have it in the budget, but Andre, maybe for Christmas, for a little staff team bonus, you could get Mexican Iron Man a deep fake. So for my internet profile, and then that way I always look young for the ladies. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of the opportunity here.
Wow, man, times are a-changing, Andre.
They are. Times are indeed changing.
Gosh, looks like I better pick up that client that's been sending me proposals. I got a client. It's a small Hollywood studio that is into this technology a little bit. I think I'm going to take him as a client. I told him I'd revisit him in about 6 months because I'm so behind and busy. But Shoot, I better get on this bandwagon. They might be a growth.
Well, they might be the next big thing. They might have a pretty extreme needs.
Wow, huh? Son of a gun. How do you feel about this, Andre? As someone who loves classic cinema, look, we've discussed together. I'm interested in how both you guys feel about this, because both you guys are also, although we cover a lot of current stuff on all these channels, both of you have a deep love and appreciation for classic cinema. So I'm dying to know how you guys feel about this from a classic cinema perspective. I mean, good Lord, just a month ago or a month and a half ago, we just did a watch party of the original Zorro.
Yeah.
How do you feel, both of you?
Tom, you want to go first?
I'm of two worlds on this. Like, I mean, there's just like every great tool, there's a million wonderful uses for it. And a lot of those could be not good. The positive side, we've brought up plenty of them. You know, the ones that we haven't brought up that I think are important is this is one thing that bothered me about that stunt girl dying on Deadpool 2 is like, why in this world and day and age of computers did something like this happen? There is no excuse. None. We should not be living in a day and age where a stuntman gets killed over something silly that could be done in a computer. You know, the reason that the lady got killed is because she couldn't wear a helmet because she was on screen. Well, that's bullshit to me. If we're reshooting Bond just because phones are out of date and shit like that, then yeah, we should. There's no excuse for that. You can deep fake a head onto a stuntman, just have him wear a blue helmet, right? Like, it's not that difficult. Most of us can do it on our own home computers. But that's the thing, is we've reached this point where the other side of it, though, like Andre said, is we can't trust anything that's in front of our eyes anymore. Much like the Running Man thing, we cannot believe if the president comes out and says something now, we almost have to question, is that real or is it a deep fake video?
As many indeed do.
Exactly. So you have that problem. But, you know, I mean, it's, to me, it's, as long as it's used in ways that are, you know, that makes sense financially and to save lives, save time, any positive use of it, I don't see as a problem. It's when you get to the other things that are a problem for me. And it's scary to think that we live in a world where somebody can completely fake you saying and doing whatever they want.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also of two minds, because if you go look into like the bigger scheme of things, I'm completely against the technology even existing in the first place, because of all the opportunity you have for real world means of like faking footage, stuff like that. Like, how are you gonna get any kind of like footage admissible in court or anything like that anymore? Like, that's completely hopeless. So on that note, I think it's a horrendous technology that should never have been developed. Likewise for apps and stuff like that. So freaking annoying. I hate like all those apps. But then in terms of like entertainment, I think it can be used for both good and bad. Like, for instance, use it to bring back a young Luke Skywalker in this day and age to fix Star Wars again. I don't mind it in the slightest. Use it to for instance for like the new Star Trek movies, if they had used like deep faking to make the actors there look more like the image of the original ones, I don't think I would have minded too much. But then of course there's a limit. Like, for instance, I think I would draw the limit at the original actor is still there, alive and willing to sign off on it. This is just a new technology to build on what we already have to get into an illusion. So as long as the original actor is there to sign off on it, I think I would be okay with it. The issue would be if you suddenly were to try to bring back the classics. Like, for instance, if you suddenly were to go and make a Mark of Sorrow Part 2, with Douglas Fairbanks' digital
That's what
replica.
I think we're on the verge of right there, Andre. You hit the nail on the head. Especially
that I would be completely against.
Where somebody just brought up Back to the Future before, like that's where I think Hollywood will take the next step, and I think we've kind of already seen that with Terminator. They tried that with the last couple now.
Oh yeah.
So trust me, we aren't too far out where they try to make Terminator 17 and they just try to remake the first film and using complete deepfake again. Just a lot less problematic. That's what I'm afraid of. And I think you're hitting on the bigger point here that I think needs to be is when does it go too far? And that's where I think we're getting to a point where
that's my line. My line is, are they still alive or not? Because as bad as I wanted to see a reunion, of Han and Leia and Luke Skywalker, as bad as I want to see the sequel trilogy canceled out. Sorry, folks, if you like it in the chat stream, but it is what it is. I feel how I feel. As much as I want that redone, and as much as I wanted to see that, doggone it, that's just I won't forget. I wouldn't forgive that if they did go there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, Mike, here's the thing: you already have as a problem is you already have the estates that are generally more than willing to sell off their loved ones in quotations likeness rights for just about anything anymore, right? Like,
you're right.
There's very few that are that protective. It seems like. And
it's a quick buck. I mean, it's
exactly
a dead family member they probably didn't care too much about in the first place, depending on how closely related they are. And if they get a quick buck by just signing that paper over here, and then it's no longer their problem for someone that made a living from selling their image, I can absolutely see why. Like certainly most estates, like if it's an estate that's like run like a lawyer. The family no longer has any direct involvement.
Yeah.
Why would they be protective?
Exactly. But then you have, the other side of it where the actors themselves are getting into this, Mike. Like there's a lot of them, like this is what Gary was saying. There's a lot of them that are having themselves scanned every couple of years for this reason.
I know you mentioned that on a previous show, and at the time, I think my reaction, I think it was on me, and my reaction was, well, what a waste of time that is. And it's not, apparently.
Well, I think a lot of them are probably they would probably have some way of working out some big lump sum deal with somebody to where it's like, yeah, I'm selling you my likeness rights after I die, and here you go. I get a nice little payment right now, and then after I'm
sure that many agencies, they're going to have that part of a standard contract. Like the CAA and whatever of the future, or of like 3 months from now, they're going to be like, as long as we're under this contract, we own your image. And then it's just a matter of like just taking more rights away and saying, okay, you want to be represented by us and have a career here and now? Well, then we're going to own your image even after death, a return to the old studio system. I mean, I think it's not outside the realm of possibility that something like that could happen. I mean, just look at what's happening right now, how you have like a great reset within Hollywood as well, where everyone has to have like some kind of deal with the streamer in order to make it. Like many independent companies that before could thrive, that there was a room for in the marketplace because they could make their schlock direct to DVD and direct to VHS and stuff like that, and then carve out their little niche. That ain't possible anymore. I mean, and to see that development continue for a few more years, it could very well be that the industry could be so game kept that in order to gain entry, you'd have to sign some kind of a clause like that to even get an agent to get you in. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility.
I think you're 100% right. And although it was fictional, I mean, hell, these Hollywood agents are vipers. I mean, you think of Ari from Entourage. I mean, Ari from Entourage would definitely
have based on a real person.
Yeah,
like,
I know
a lot of that shit in that is like,
and that's my point. Like, so much of that is actually true stories and shit.
And I think the real Ari Gold that he's based on, I think almost got railroaded in Me Too out of Hollywood. But if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. That's correct. And he would absolutely have this in a contract.
Yeah. Well, so
George Lucas was ahead of the time. He was the one who already did this. right? He already owns when he's had everybody sign on to Star Wars. They all signed over their likeness rights to George, so he didn't have to deal with it later on. You know, Carrie Fisher always made that joke, but it was true. I mean, not about having to pay him, but the fact that he owned her likeness rights. You know, she's like, every time I look in the mirror, I owe George $10. You know, we got Aaron Rodgers in the chat. Is that the Aaron Rodgers? Wow. Says existing actors selling their image to look younger is fine. They're always wearing wigs and makeup to look younger. Anyways, yeah, I mean, part of it is, and this is where Gary was talking about too, is like a lot of actors have already done this. They've banked.
Yeah, and to be clear, when you say Gary, then you do mean Gary J. Tunnicliffe. So yeah, just
to be clear, yes,
to be clear about that.
DeWall though disagrees with you, Andre. Says, I think older famous actors that are deceased are going to start replacing newer actors in movies. Think breakdance movie with Fred Astaire playing lead. Yes, sounds stupid. Actually, that's exactly what we were kind of getting to, DeWall. I think I'm not sure Andre never said anything against that per se.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be too prevalent because again, modern audiences today, and you say Fred Astaire, he's going to look like a man of his age and everything, and to most moviegoers under the age of, well, actually fairly high age, but certainly those that Hollywood wants to cater to, they're not going to have any idea who Fred Astaire is, like none whatsoever. I mean, you say the name Fred Astaire to them, and they look at okay, who's that? I mean, how many followers does he have on Instagram? I mean, that's going to be like their question there. So that's like what I mean. I don't think that there's necessarily a market, or certainly a very big market for it. Obviously, there's going to be like some, but most people aren't going to be aware. Certainly not the target audience for movies a few years from now. They'll have no clue who Fred Astaire is. I stand by that.
And I know he's just using it as an example,
but him or anyone, even Humphrey Bogart, or the Duke,
and who also has been used a few times now.
Yeah, but like a 50 or 10-year-old now, they have no clue who the hell that is.
To a point, but like somebody like Elvis, who is a bit more prevalent. I mean, that you're not wrong, DeWall, but I mean, Andre and I and Mike, I think we all in agreement that's definitely something that's on the table. Like, don't think they won't attempt it at some point, but like, I think Andre's right. They'll pick somebody who's a little bit more well-known. Like, don't be surprised if we have a new Michael Jackson video at some point. They've already deep-faked his ass voice-wise. You know, I got busted doing that. Yeah. So like, yeah, these are things that are going to happen. Yeah, Elvis will be back, you know.
But or again, or my go-to example there that I think is going to be meet the new Wolverine. Same as the old Wolverine, but he still looks 40.
Now you had to say it because Jesse's in the fucking chat. You're going to trigger him, and I'm not going to hear the end
sorry,
of it.
Sorry, Jesse, but I think that's...
Jesse can get triggered and hold on to it until Thursday.
He will. Yeah. He hates Hugh Jackman. No. But you're right, DeWall. You're not wrong in your what you're saying here. But I don't think Andre was saying this wasn't going to happen. But I think he was getting more to, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's where the confusion comes in, is the changing of films that are already made. That's what scares me as well. More so, I don't give a shit. You can make 10 movies starring the Duke, right? Like, and I'm old enough to know what his real movies are and what his other ones are. But that's another point too, is I guess is the confusion later on down the road. But that I'm not so much worried about, is just them altering things that already exist.
Well, you kind of have that already. Like, if you go to a standard American Blu-ray cover right now, how far do you have to look before you find out the year the movie was made?
I mean, how much of Indiana Jones 5 is going to be deep faked?
Close to all of it, I guess.
Sure.
So yeah, there's a
real life example. I'm dying to know how people in the chat feel about real Harrison Ford versus not real Harrison Ford. If you're cool with, I mean, I'd be interested in knowing what the chat.
Well, yeah, that's
what do you guys think? Because to me, that numbs things up for me a lot.
We're gonna kind of get a test of this. Remember how everybody was saying, "Oh, well, they would never do an entire series with a deep faked Luke." Well, we're gonna get an entire movie with a deep faked Indiana Jones.
All right, so in the chat stream, give me a 0 if you are okay with a virtual Harrison Ford, and give me a 1 if you're staunch that no, I want to see the real dude. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, or give us a 2 or give us a 3 then to keep it more separate. If screw it, I don't care. I'm done with Indiana Jones, period. But mostly the first 2, because that's what we're interested in here, is like the deep faking aspect of it.
We got a couple zeros, got a couple ones.
Wow.
The chat is looking very non-binary.
Yeah.
Or very binary, I should say. Script Doctor brings up an extra interesting point too, though. Is the thing is, even though you're deep faking these actors, you still need somebody to do the voice. You still need somebody to generally stand in for them. And like Script Doctor brings up here, Meryl Streep is a very unique actress. Among most actors, are you very, very, very unique. So it's very tough to find somebody who can pull off like a great. What was that movie with? God, I'm trying to remember, where they had Vincent D'Onofrio play Orson Welles, but they had what's his face come in and do the voice from Pinky and the Brain. What the fuck movie was that?
Never heard of it. Which movie is this?
Oh, god damn it! I'm trying to remember now.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just one scene.
Shit.
They have Orson Welles. Vincent D'Onofrio plays him, but they had what's his face from Pinky and the Brain come. Ed Wood. Thank you, Reservoir Frog. Ed Wood. See, that's kind of where we're at. Is that's what you're going to have to do? Is you're going to have Maurice LaMarche is the guy's name. Thank you, Jesse. So they had Maurice LaMarche come in and do the voice, but Vincent D'Onofrio plays Orson Welles in person. So that's kind of where we're at. You're going to have somebody sit there, play the person. The face will be deep faked over. Then you'll have to have somebody else come in and do the voice usually, unless the actor themselves can do a good enough job. So you have all these elements that got to come together. That's now 3 things that have to be done to do one performance. So again, it's not really one of those things that's.
Was it on that same show that Script was on? He was talking, or someone was talking about the voiceover action, or was it the one that Tom Conk was on with us?
One of the other, probably, yeah.
I mean, so that's around the corner, according to Script and Conkle. I mean, I think, or one or both.
Well, they're already doing it in a lot of ways, but yeah, that's what I'm saying is. They're gonna have to sit down and figure: is it worth this much, or can we just get another actor, right? Like, because you can get an actor come in and do the performance live in real time.
Right.
If they have to deep fake Orson Welles into a movie, that's 3 steps, right? That's what I'm getting at, is that you got to go through, and unless you're lucky and you find an actor who can both do the voice and stand in for the actor, right? Like, which is a rarity. Like that Tom Cruise guy is one of the few that I can think of. You know, even when Collider did the George Lucas things, the guy doing the voice was okay, but he didn't look nothing like George Lucas. You know, like,
right.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got a guy with a fucking pillow in his fucking shirt. Obviously, you can't do that. You got to find somebody who has the same body type, like they're doing for Harrison Ford in the new Indiana Jones film. They got a guy standing in who looks almost exactly like him, probably a stunt double.
Yeah, old guy, like a stunt double from ages ago. That just got the final gig of his career, probably. And he also looks pretty haggard, so it'll be very interesting to see how that turns out, especially since we are going to see Indiana Jones at different stages of his life.
Reportedly, we don't know.
Reportedly, we don't know. But yeah.
But we do have some...
I mean, before you hit the super chats, this one, Cobra Count says there's already a lot of deepfake voice stuff happening already. And then someone in the chat, I'm not sure who did it, but someone had a great idea. What we do is we capture your guys' avatars and we deepfake you. And then Andre and Tom can live forever. And we have Midnight Sage for the next 3,000 years.
Well, you have to find someone else who can do my accent. And Doomcock is doing a pretty good job from what I answer, from what I get.
I still say mine's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Tom's is still better, but Doomcock tries real hard. And do you know
Doomcock does great for about 2 words, and then he turns into Bela Lugosi for some reason.
Yeah, and he only has one. He only has one. The scene he does is you sending me to go watch He-Man episode 5 live. That's his material, Andre. So
I'm with Gordon here, some Norse mythology.
I say we just put Marlon Brando in everything. So.
Marlon Brando from the island of Dr. Moreau.
I don't give a shit which era. Marlon Brando to me is just, I love Marlon Brando stories. So. I could see him as Baron Harkonnen. That would be amazing.
Oh, that would be beyond words.
It's what the space. Those who control the space control the universe. You know, that's how it works.
Fuck, that would be
no.
I mean, seriously, you know, that's actually one deep fake that I wouldn't mind.
Really?
Yeah, no, yeah, seriously. If you were to do Jodorowsky's Dune, if someone were, a crazy filmmaker were to do that either in animation or to deep fake all the actors that were supposed to have been in Jodorowsky's Dune, I would have been pretty okay with that, I think.
There's so much sand all over. It's in my crevices.
It gets in your what?
My crevices.
Your crevices?
My crevice. Well, you know.
We're not filming your crevices, Mr. Brando.
It don't matter. It's sand and it's everywhere. I don't like
it. Oh my God, yeah. But yeah, we had a couple of super chats. And one I can bring up on screen here since my has frozen here. Jeremy Hughes, he said...
they fly? Do they fly? That's super.
The super chats? No, they don't fly, but they do come up on screen. And Jerome Hughes says for $5, John D. Washington would make a great T'Challa / Black Panther replacement.
Yeah, that's not a bad
Yeah, that's also like a good example for something that I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel desperately wanted to deep fake.
At least somebody got it.
At least it's everywhere.
Yeah.
In the crevices.
But beyond that, John D. Washington, I have to look him up. But yeah, and there's many people that could do a good T'Challa. But I think that, yeah, that's one example where Marvel, if they have the opportunity, they would totally deep fake the original back again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not thinking about it.
Yeah. And like just do like one cameo or something with him deep fake just to get him out of the story, like he's retired or something like that. I would not be surprised if they were to do something like that. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest that they made some kind of deal with his family or something to make that happen. So yeah, we shall see what they do with that. Let's see then where else we were.
Sadie, shut up.
Yeah, you're not new to Tom. And then Dash Attack says for $5, Star Wars always felt like a live action anime, especially the prequels. Also, does it feel like we are in a content drought? Gaming is all we got. Yeah, this is a question about like the Star Wars anime thing. I think we can touch upon that later. So just hold that thought, and we'll get back to the Star Wars anime. And Stephen Otten says, "Hail, Andre, Tom, Mike, Wrenches, and chat. It is you, right? Just checking. And yes, it is us. We have not been deep faked just yet." But probably should keep on checking. And Augie Bandoggy sent us a thumbs up super sticker. Stephanie Janishek Smuggler's Cantina pointed out Bill Murray, Lost in Translation, is about an actor doing exactly this. Yeah, Bill Murray, he's also someone that's worse than Bruce Willis, because like you book an entire movie, write it, and then you just hope that he actually shows up on set. I mean, if there is one actor that really probably could use a deepfake replacement, is him.
Wait, is it really like that, Andre, with that guy?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Tom, you want to relay the story?
For which one? Sorry.
Bill Murray.
Oh,
is he really like the kind of guy where you book him and you're crossing your fingers that he'll actually show up?
They didn't even know if he was going to show up to Ghostbusters.
What?
Yeah.
How's that?
Bill is notorious.
The best example is even Lost in Translation.
Well,
like that Oscar-winning movie. They were like hoping he was going to show up for it.
Yeah, and he was like 4 days late to that. He even fired his agent years ago. He don't have an agent anymore. He has an 800 number. And you call it and you tell him what you want to do, and he'll call you back if he's interested. And then you're lucky if he shows up. Like they tried getting a hold of him for months, because the whole deal with Bill Murray was to get him to do Ghostbusters. They probably regretted it, but they're like, oh, well, negotiate getting your movie done, because he wanted to do The Razor's Edge. So he's like, all right, I'll do Ghostbusters if you let me do the Razor's Edge, but I want to shoot the Razor's Edge first. So I think I keep trying to remember where he went to shoot it, but it was somewhere over in Asia, of course, but I think it was Tibet or something like that. But he was over there and for months, and they couldn't get a hold of him. So they're constantly trying to get a hold of him. And then he got a plane back the day before Ghostbusters started shooting, and they couldn't get a hold of him. And they finally got him in a hotel or something like that. They found him. And so they drug him out of the hotel, got him in in a limousine, and he supposedly read the script on the way over, but they don't believe that he did, because he was a real asshole the entire time when they were in California. But then when they moved from California to New York, that's when Dan Aykroyd thinks he actually read the script, because then he's like, this is the best movie I've ever read. This is the best part I've ever had. This movie is going to be the biggest movie of all time. And he turned into a completely different person when they got to New York, is what he kept saying. So he was like, so until he got on board, he was just like a real curmudgeon. And they just weren't sure if he was going to show up. He was days late to just about every movie he's ever been in.
And that really sucks for the movies that he was the star of. I mean, can you imagine that when you don't know if you have a movie or not? Because the star couldn't be asked to show up.
Well, that's just it. You don't know where he's at. He'd pop up all kinds of different places. He don't have a cell phone either. Or what if he does have a cell phone, nobody has the number. Like, he's impossible to get a hold of, I guess.
I mean, in terms of like Hollywood divas, like he wrote the book on it.
And, that was the whole thing with him and Ramis, is they had it out because he wanted to make a completely different movie than Ramis wanted to make. The only time I'm on his side is Ghostbusters too, because they did kind of
disappointing here, Tom. This is kind of disappointing as a fan.
Well, he's one of those people I've heard, he can either be the greatest guy you've ever met. He could show up at your house and do your dishes, or he'll treat you like a complete piece of shit.
Creative type personalities. Ugh.
Yeah, with everything that goes with it.
Ugh. Oh, how do I feel today in my fifis? And I gotta, how do I feel? And please, we accountants hate drama. We accountants hate inconsistency, and we like normalcy.
Yeah, we do indeed. We do indeed.
SD0 says drugs. Nah, I don't think he was ever much into the drugs, so much as he's just, from what I gather, Bill has always taken himself much more seriously than everybody else.
Well, that's a big part of that. I mean, that's like the diva part where that comes in, where he's like, I am better than you, and I am better than this production, and this production needs me, and I don't need it. So, there you go, and I'm going to act exactly the way I want because of it. And you're just going to have to abide by my rules.
Yeah.
And those rules he won't share.
And sometimes you'll have that with creatives. I mean, they're just that way, and it's sad because he was the reason we didn't get Ghostbusters 3 for many, many years, because of his tiff with Harold Ramis. And that was just because of Groundhog Day. They wanted to make two completely different movies. So you'll have that.
Yeah.
Kind of like Eddie Murphy. He's another one just like that, I hear, too. Not so much into the extreme, but like that was the story I love, is when John Landis said that the studio told him that Eddie Murphy doesn't want to be funny anymore, so make Eddie Murphy funny in Beverly Hills Cop 3 without him knowing it. It's like, how the fuck? So it's like they basically had to bowfinger him through the movie. Because Eddie was trying to be all serious and shit. It's like, you're doing Beverly Hills Cop 3, Eddie.
Yeah. Bowfinger was self-experienced and self-lived. Who would have thought?
It's a true fucking story.
Yeah.
Because Eddie got to his phase where he's like, I want an Oscar. All right, well, we got some other super chats. I'm sorry.
Yes, we do. Then we have Dash D's, who says for $10, Dear God, I have played your MMO faithfully. Today is my 54th year, and my tune doesn't work as well as it used to and make weird noises. Please delete my account or issue me another. Respectfully, Dash. Yeah, these are hard times for everyone. That's all I can say about that. And Camilo Villegas says for $5, if his face becomes nothing but computer code, it can get copied and stolen. How long until we start getting celebrity deepfake porn eventually? Actually,
sure
you
it's
already
already
have
out
that.
there.
Yeah, you've had like celebrity fake nudes for, I don't know, decades already. So yeah, that's just a next logical step, isn't it?
Nude pictures of B. Arthur?
What? B. Arthur? Oh no.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's like another thing you can do, like with the deep faking.
No one's asking for that. No one wants B.
Yeah,
Arthur or Betty White on porn. No, Andre. No.
Football helmet full of cottage cheese. Yeah, I asked
Yeah. No,
stuff, so
Golden
that way
Girls
later we
full
can.
frontal scenes. Yeah, can be done with deep faking. Of course,
Yeah, I asked
you
for a
don't
bunch
know
of
this
crazy things, so later I can plead the insanity. Yeah, Daddy Dreek got me. That's from Airheads.
Actually, that's actually ties in with what Michael Miller said for 14 South African rounds. Adult entertainment is going to be so fun with deep faking. So yeah, many obviously have thought those thoughts. And then Dana Ramos says for $10, I think you guys may have forgotten the first really good use of early face replacement after the actor couldn't be there for filming and let them finish it. The Crow. I actually don't know too much about what they did that. Tom, like, do you have the story on the
As far
Crow?
as I
Like,
know,
what
there's
happened
only
on
like
set.
there's only like 2 shots I think they had to use. The rest it's his stuntman in it. I think there's only like 2 close-up shots that they actually had to use. And that time the technology was just so in its infancy. Like basically they did the same thing there that like they did for Forrest Gump. That was way before deepfake. But yeah, that's like the earliest time they've ever replaced an actor like that. That's for sure. But I'm trying to remember which shots it is. It's only like 2 shots. I'm sure you could look it up and find out online. But yeah, that did change the entire ending of the film. I know that. Mike, are you a fan of The Crow?
No, you lost me. Unlike Kevin Smith, I don't pretend to be a fan of things I'm not a fan of. I just don't know anything about it. Didn't follow it. Wasn't one of the ones
I think you'd enjoy it. It's a great film, great comic book. Pretty intense story. I know you're a fan of The Crow, right, Andre?
I might have been if I was in any way familiar with it. I've never read the comic, and I, of course, know of what happened on the set of the movie. And then I saw the movie at the time, and that was way too early because it didn't do anything for me. So I have to rewatch that because I saw it as a kid. And I've forgotten everything, so for all intents and purposes, I actually haven't seen it.
Crow is like RoboCop of comic book movies.
Yeah, that could be, but I still haven't seen it.
And it's got Ernie Hudson in it.
Oh, well, cool. I had no idea.
No, I can't believe. Wow, you definitely should rewatch.
1 out of 3 we're striking out here.
You guys definitely got to see The Crow. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, there's some like movies everyone should have seen. Certainly, if you're like a movie pundit and stuff like that I haven't seen. Like, I know a ton of obscure stuff, and there's some really obvious ones that I haven't seen, and that's one of them.
Yeah, and Corey Leader's right. Andre was a kid.
Yeah, well, I was adult or mature for my years even then.
Can you imagine Andre like came out like at the hospital like on day 3 talking the way he talks right now and already doing finance? That's how I imagine Andre. Like he just came out done, like came out of the oven done.
I like what Immortal Remus said here. The Crow is a supernatural gothic horror action RoboCop. Yeah. It's as good as RoboCop. That's what I say. That's where my bar is. Is it as good as RoboCop or no? Like, RoboCop's a damn perfect movie. Back to the Future, damn perfect movie. Jaws, perfect movie. There you go. Godfather, perfect movie.
All right, moving on.
The Last
from
Jedi,
there.
not so much.
Yeah, well, that's far from it. Then Rambam 3000 says for £5 with deepfake, how long before we can resurrect movie stars like Charles Bronson and John Wayne? Well, we can do it right now. But here's like the thing: it's a matter of what there is market for and demand for, and none of those are in any franchises where their image is needed. Like, for instance, you're going to resurrect people for Star Wars. We've seen that already. You could resurrect John Wayne, but he's not in any franchise where there's need of him. And the modern-day movie-going audience that Hollywood thinks are their core audience and tries to cater to, I bet you the majority of them don't even know who John Wayne is.
Only the ones who do is because they've
or
tried
Charles
to
Bronson,
him.
for that matter.
Yeah, I was just saying the only
of
ones
course
who know.
not. I mean, as Tom Conkle observed when he was on the show the other day, when he does these pitch meetings, they're like, "Well, what's recent? Have you, and then he'll he'll use a reference, and they're like, well, "Did that come out recently? Did I, and they've got these 25 to 35.
Yeah, it's like did the Godfather came out recently? Who was in that? It's like, yeah.
I think it was in that one.
Yeah, that's modern day Hollywood for you. I don't think it's a good thing.
Nico Spotty brings up an interesting point. How would deepfakes affect the Oscars? I think in that case,
best special effects.
Well, I would say that, but remember, we've already had like what's his face was nominated for Gollum and stuff. So I think you just nominate the actors who would have played said actor, right?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't think that the actors that would be behind the deepfaking would get any more attention than whoever is behind the mask of Jason.
You're not wrong, probably.
Yeah, I think that they would just be complete nobodies that you would never hear. Like, for instance, who was the person who was on set for Leia in Rogue One? Who was the person who was on set for Luke in the scenes that weren't Mark Hamill
No, and
himself?
that's a very valid point. But I
mean they're just random nobodies.
Yeah. But in that case, that's where you had like the 3 steps. Like I said, you had somebody playing the actor on the set, and then somebody else doing the voice, and then you had to have the CGI. To where if you have somebody like Andy Serkis who's doing all the performance aside from the actual,
but then it's something else, because then it's not really. Then it's only deep, but yeah, Gollum is a perfect example of like what deep faking could be in terms of like makeup and stuff. But I think that's the exception. I think most cases you'd be looking at Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers kind of situation.
No, I agree with you. Like, I don't think that there's any place for it to be nominated. I agree, unless they put up a specific category for it.
Yeah, I think the only it's going to be like best special effects. That's going to be like the category right there.
I don't
think
or
unless they create like a new one, like best mimic or something like that.
Right. Well, I think we're at least a generation away from like most of the actors that have signed off on this for it to actually come into effect, right? Like,
I don't know. I mean, things can go really fast. I know like a certain government body that thought that a certain city would take like 3 months to fall, and it took like 3 hours from they made the statement. So things can go faster than you think.
Oh yeah, I suppose, but
I think it's going to go blistering fast.
That's what I think too. I think it's going to be here in no time, honestly, one way or the other. And Sander Hammerstad points out that CGI Peter Cushing looked horrible in 3D. Yeah, but that wasn't deep faking. That was like literal animation with Disney's own proprietary de-youngifying technology, and that is horrible, and that's why they're now using deep faking, and they got Shamook in to help them out. So that's gonna look better. It's never gonna look that bad again.
Here's my question about hiring that guy, right? Sure, a lot of people think it's mainly because of Indiana Jones.
No, I think that's that he's doing a shit ton of things for them. I think he's going to be like their go-to guy.
I do too.
I think that this whole possibility of a young Luke series is not off the table.
Whoa! Is that a
This
prediction? Is that another Midnight City?
That's probably a prediction, yeah, because I have nothing to go on other than they hired this guy.
So it's not a rumor; it's a prediction.
That's a prediction.
Ooh.
Yeah, we don't know. Like, to be clear, we do not know whatsoever or anything like that. But I'm also inclined to be like, just imagine, like, for instance, if you have Sebastian Stan that's there on set, and then they deep fake Mark Hamill on top of him. I think that's something that the majority of fans would be totally on board with, because there you have someone that kind of looks like a young Mark Hamill to begin with, and then you use deep faking just to get it there all the way. And I think something like that would really make people respond to deep faking, because then you could like see in an example like that exactly what can be done with the technology. Like, I'm not saying that's altogether a good thing, but yeah, I agree with Tom on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's about the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Why else? I mean, partially, yeah, because here's the thing, and I always bring this up is, there's always that kind of gate. It's like they ignore YouTube. They, in fact, despise it when YouTubers do fan films and shit, because it's kind of pretentious on their part. They think they can do it better, and then when they turn around and do it better, it makes them look bad. So usually they ignore them as much as possible. For them to bring this guy in says a lot to me, and that's where I'm thinking, like, somebody's ego got bruised.
These Hollywood ego types are just absolutely deluded. How is it that they thrive and thirst for adulation, yet they don't want to have any direct communication with, or relationships with, or positive interactions with actual fans? It drives me nuts, these people. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
In every other business, you want to interact with your customers. You want to build a community. You want to build a client base. In every other industry, I've never seen anything like this, these weirdos. And it's just getting, that element of Hollywood has not gotten any better. It's only gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. Or maybe it was always bad and I just never noticed, but I don't know.
Well, and, like Mikey's bringing up Freddy Krueger. There's another thing I brought up too, is that this deep fake stuff can help with, like, Robert Englund ain't young, but he could still play Freddy. He could play Freddy for a while. Just deep fake it.
I would even say that he may even be better as an old man that's deep fake to be a little bit younger. Freddy actually one character that really could work out for.
Exactly. And at this point, I can't believe they haven't been figuring it out, because how much money Halloween 2018 made? I mean, they should have been signing Robert Englund up to a 3-picture deal to do Freddy 3 more times just to get it.
Oh, yeah. And they could do those movies for like no cost at all. Like, the most expensive thing would actually be the deep faking. And it would be totally worth it.
Well, that brings up a point that Culture made earlier in one of his comments in the chat stream, that the technology costs have to be low because it's so expensive. But then again, all technology costs are high when they're first implemented, and then they drop off pretty fast, pretty quick within the ensuing 2 to 5 years.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, not just that. This technology is already cheap because it's on apps on your phone.
Yeah, it's actually, it's even better than that. The technology is actually free to use. You can use your own code to improve it, and that's probably what Disney are going to do. I'm sure they're going to hire Shamook on a more permanent basis, probably, and they're going to like work with him with some developers and stuff. Like, he's a developer himself. And they're going to use the standard deep faking algorithm, whatever improvements he has, and then put in the absolute best of what they already have of their own proprietary code for like de-younging, and make like the best de-aging thing on the market. I really believe that's going to happen. That's been like one of my complaints with how Disney have been doing all of their de-younging things, that they've been like locked to their own proprietary thing when there's better there. And now that they seem to have realized that, and they brought him in, I think they're going to make something proprietary and amazing that no one can top. I really do.
Maybe. But we had a lot of great super chats. Let's get to those.
Yeah,
a lot of them are topical. So
yeah, exactly. Let's first see if we have any recent ones on the topic before I get to the current ones. Augie Ben Doggy says for $5, hire a guy off the street, pay half to the actor for voice and likeness, and pay almost nothing to deepfake. Kennedy keeps her salary. Enough said. Yeah, there you go. I mean, this is like pretty much exactly that. And Daniel do Amaral Rodriguez says for 20 Brazilian reals. Thank you so much. Deepfake is already here. The YouTube fitness channel Two Buff Dudes has 3 videos where they replace their own faces with 80s era Stallone and Schwarzenegger. It's hilarious.
Those guys are greedy and lazy.
Yeah. And ActionCom says, what about using fakes for actor transitions? Start the movie with a deep fake Mark Hamill, have him morph throughout the movie and ends with Sebastian Stan. Then continue your series from there. That's one way of doing it, but I think they're more likely to begin with, say, if they were to follow my idea, use Sebastian Stan, deepfake him for that extra little step, and then keep doing that. Because once you have first done that code, you've done the scans and everything. That's the thing with deepfake. It costs almost nothing to keep on doing it. Then it's just like minor nips and tucks, literally, here and there. But there's like no substantial cost. It's like the substantial startup cost. And then after that, it's smooth sailing.
And Brightest Day says, in an increasingly separated and digital world, reach out and become tangible to each other. I agree. This also goes along with a lot of other things. Thanos 2024 says, deepfake Luke was very well received in Mandalorian. Yes, he was.
I have an issue with that. I don't think that deepfake. Actually, that wasn't a deepfake. That was Disney's own proprietary de-aging technology, and it was actually only very mixed received. What was very well received was Luke Skywalker being in it at all. Don't confound the two.
And I think that matters. I think there's a heartwarming element to know that the actor you love, the character the actor you know, and the character you love is a unique combo when you pull it together with this technology. That to me is the full circle. You have the actor you know, which with the character you love, and then this technology closes the circle loop. It makes it magical. As a fan, that's what I think.
Yeah, and Dash D's says for $5 Canadian. Oh my God, Rob killed the original Mexican Iron Man and deep-faked him to get back on the show. I'm out. Now, don't worry about it. I mean, Mexican Iron Man's actual skill and knowledge of business and the industry, that can't be faked.
No, that can't be faked.
Yeah, and Spider Unlimited says for and Spider Unlimited says for $9.99. Can we deep fake the last 2 dialogue? Call them something else and leave the original 3 at peace.
I agree 100%.
Oh my God, that is
Unlimited.
Hilarious.
I watched Die Hard 3 about a month ago, and I was reminded of how brilliant that fucking film is.
That's it's one of my favorite movies. That's actually my favorite Die Hard movie.
It is so up there with the first one.
Yeah, really.
It is so up there with the first one. It is.
The second one is my favorite one.
What?
Yes,
I like the second one, but
I know I'm in a minority.
It's the same thing as the first one.
I know I'm in a minority, but I don't know. And the red bullets and the blue bullet things, and I don't know. And some of the scenes are shot so bad. They're just some of them are. But I just love the second one.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the second film is good, and as far as
I always wanted to go out in the snow underneath an airplane after that, with like red flares and be like, no, don't land the plane. I don't know.
Just to me, Die Hard with a Vengeance has always been the true sequel to Die Hard.
It's so good. Right, Andre? It's so good.
Oh yeah. I like it too, but to me, it's the first and the third. They stand out. They really, really do to me. And then we can go back to the classic super chats here. Then we have Mitch Thibault, who says for $10 Canadian. Off topic, but I was wondering if anyone here could shed some light on Sony's decision to no longer sell or rent movies and TV shows on the PlayStation Network after August 31st. This is the first I hear of.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it, so I'm just going to have to take a guess here, and that is that
I can take a guess, but yeah, dude, you guess first, Tom.
Either they have some other platform that's going to come in and take it over, or they have some kind of deal that they're doing that's exclusive with somebody else.
That's what I'm thinking. Someone like Netflix, maybe.
Yeah, which is sad because I've always said that Sony had a missed opportunity with that. They were like kind of the forefront with that shit, and they just kind of let it languish. I mean, they could have been up there right now competing with like Amazon and stuff like that and Vudu. And Vudu just got bought out again by Fandango. So like Voodoo's changed hand like twice in the last few years. I'm not surprised, and I'm assuming because you can buy more than just Sony films on there. It's their just, where you can just buy through their store. So I'm assuming they're just shutting down that part of the store. What do you think, Andre? What's going on?
I don't know any details about it, but what I would imagine, this is just my guess. I haven't done any research of this, so this is just purely an educated guess. But if stuff like that suddenly is disappearing off the PlayStation Network, and we know that they have like this new deal with Netflix, then I think that they simply got paid more for exclusivity on Netflix. And then they're simply going to rebrand the PlayStation Network as something for movies only, and refer people to Netflix that you can get on your PlayStation for their movie needs. I would imagine it's that simple. That's my best guess without having done any further research on the matter. Mike, any thoughts on that?
What you guys sounds good. I have nothing to add.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
And for those who are outside of the U.S., Live Free or Die Hard would be Die Hard 4.0.
Yes, that's true. That is correct. I mean, in my location, it was called, like, all of the most recent Die Hard movies, they have like these super Americanized titles that don't really mean anything anywhere else, so that like the titles are often changed for international usage. So the Live Free or Die Hard, like that don't make any sense. So it was called like Die Hard 4.0 internationally, as a way to indicate fourth movie, and like some computer the part of it. Whereas, for instance, the third one, which was called Die Hard with a Vengeance, I believe, that's also like a title that doesn't translate, certainly not in my region. That title doesn't translate. And if you keep the original title, Norwegians will understand revenge, but they might not understand an exotic word like vengeance. So they changed it to Die Hard in New York.
That is a dumb title.
Yeah, well, that's what it was sold as here. So, yeah.
At least Die Hard 4.0 makes sense. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
We need a Die Hard in like Mexico, like Die Hard in Tijuana.
I'd see that.
Where like he's like stuck in a taco factory, and then there's like some kind of like drug cartel involved, and then he has to fight his way out, but all he has is like carne asada.
These tortillas are made out of cocaine.
Exactly. And then he has to like uncover the truth of what's in the formula of the tortillas, Tom.
Well, they got to be stealing something. That's the way it always works. So they're never just...
They're going to steal the tortillas that are made out of the illicit drugs.
So it's like rival gang wars and John McClane stuck in the middle?
Yes, yeah, and then you can do a Miami Vice crossover. Make it perfect.
Oh, my God. And then, yes, exactly. And then the boat...
Oh, here's the trailer. You have the music in the background. Two rival Mexican gangs. They just want the drugs. And one man is stuck in the middle.
Mexican Iron Man?
I don't even like tacos.
I'll watch that.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
I bet you Bruce Willis don't really like tacos, too.
And then moving on with the super chats here. Like, it's jumped on me here. So just give me 1 second. And here we go. Gran Wasu 42 says for €5, if you want to see dead actors in a new movie, watch Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. Is there a new version of that?
No.
Is it pronounced plaid?
Yeah.
Why the hell is there an I in it?
That's how it's pronounced. We've gone to plaid.
Okay. Who am I to argue?
It's been so many years since I've seen that. I'm trying to remember who's in that. Was it Humphrey Bogart's
Well,
in that, or
yeah, and there's a version
it's a
with
Steve Martin movie.
Martin.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
one it is, but I think there is a cameo by like somebody in there. I'm trying to remember because it's an old film noir movie, like takeoff of. It's been so long since I've seen it, but yeah, I think there's like some cameo in that. But I think that's just old footage in that movie because they didn't have computers yet for that, if I remember right. Oh. Yeah, I know. We know it's a Steve Martin movie, but was it Humphrey Bogart in that?
Let us know in the comments because I haven't seen it, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, Lindsay said it was. Yeah, okay, yeah, and I think they just used footage of them. I don't because they didn't have computers yet.
So it was more like a post-mortem cameo.
Yeah, as I think Siege Perilous says it best here. It was a Bogart pastiche. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of pastiches. I like that word when you use it.
Yeah, I think the age of the pastiche is upon us.
Very much so.
Brought forward by deepfakes. I can absolutely see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and, just integrated footage. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Thomas Plummer says for $10, how do you think the death of the billion-dollar movie will affect the way that deepfakes work? And will it reduce the paychecks for them? Let's hear from the accounting guy first. Like with the modern day Hollywood and now with deepfaking, do you think that actors' salaries are going to go up or down?
Well, I'm not an expert in this area, but I would tell you from a financial standpoint, I think the glory days, I would say, let me answer this in two ways. One is that I think you're looking at the straight way that they used to be compensated is going to go down. But then again, they have new revenue opportunities to potentially deploy. So, for example, going back to what you two guys are talking about, you have maybe some deep fake income opportunity. Like, say I'm an actor. Okay, everybody in chat stream, say you're an actor. So now you have an ability to make some money. Otherwise, let's say you can do the Bruce Willis thing. That's a new way of making money that wasn't available to you, say, 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Certainly not with the level of frequency or speed as it is now. So you've got new revenue opportunities. Simultaneously, you have the day of the blockbuster is gone. The day of where things were inching to where every big release, 800 million, 900 million, $1 billion, that's all coming down. And as Culture Casino does a fantastic job of doing so, the script, they talk about budgets. And so budgets are going to truncate. Well, when the budgets truncate, so does the amount of revenue that's available for these actors. And what's going to happen? Well, then they're going to supplant it with some of these deals that they have to make for how much it helps the streaming. Because of streaming revenue, the streaming component is all about adding value to the stock price of the company and the studio. That the studio or the stock price of the company that owns the studio that's putting out the actual film. So what I would say is things are changing. In the olden days, it was very simple. Here's how much you're going to get up front. Here's how many points you're going to get. You're either going to get those points off of the gross box office, or they're going to be adjusted box office points, less of marketing, or they're going to be net residual points. And maybe there'll be some stuff that you'll pick up as it trails out when it's when it hits like broadcast TV, like we used to in the olden days. But now it's changed. But if you're talking about just total number of dollars, I think it's going to truncate and shrink for everybody across the board, no matter what. Why? Because we as consumers now are spending less money. Think about this. For the 10 or 20, even if you have all the streaming services like I do, and I have them all. Well, actually, do I have? Oh, yes, I have Disney Plus because I have it for my kid. So, but I got it with my cell phone package and my sports package. It's really weird how I got that with my cell phone. But anyway, that's another. But let's say you have every single streaming package that you buy. For that same amount for that money, you're getting an entire COD, just an absolute treasure chest of entertainment. Now, we can argue that some of it's changed, some of it has warning flags in the beginning, some of it is being withheld from us. But in reality, what's happening is there's less dollars out there because, frankly, if you look at our habits, we're all, as a culture, as fans, we're all spending more time on YouTube talking about this stuff and watching each other be creatives than we are going to the movies. I mean, for me, I literally, for the first time in the last month and a half, I'm actually have to say, am I going to go to the movies or am I going to watch some of my favorite YouTubers? And that is what brings the dollars down. That is what makes the gold chest that these Hollywood types want evaporate, and that is what they get for ignoring us as fans.
Yeah, Tom, anything to add to that?
I agree with you, except for I think that they'll just find other revenue outlets. Like, I think that's where the likeness rights and all that kind of stuff will come more into play. And again, it may, as far as like having like old actors come back, it'll probably be more of a deal you'll make with the estate, and they'll probably have like a stand-in actor and a voice actor who they choose of their own to kind of represent said deceased actor. As far as that otherwise goes, like, I don't think actors are going to take any less. Sure, the day of age of the movie star is gone, and sure, the big paydays are gone, but for the most part, most actors don't make much more than the average. So like, I don't think that part's going to change too much. I mean, yeah, I do think some of the bigger actors are going to take hits, right? Like, again, though, how many other actors besides like Johnny Depp and a few others that were making those huge fucking paydays? Scarlett Johansson's another one, right? And I think that between the lawsuit and all the other things, that shit's going to change a little bit. And if we're right about Chapek, I think that's going to change as far as contracts down the road, but that doesn't mean that actors are necessarily going to take less. If anything, it'll just open up other avenues for revenue. What do you think, Andre?
Yeah, no, I actually agree with that completely. I think that for most actors who are working actors, it's not going to be really changed because they weren't rich to begin with. It's not going to affect like TV actors because it's not going to change too much for them. It's not going to change for those that live on like bit parts and cameos. No changes for them. The only changes here are in the huge blockbuster productions. There, the revenue stream that was the theater, the worldwide theatrical release that brought in billions, nothing can replace that. Sure, they can find other revenue streams, but nothing can replace that. Just because of that, revenue is simply going to have to come down in every link. There's going to be less revenue, and for that, budgets are going to have to go down. And that also means that those huge, massive, enormous deals, they're still going to be big deals, I'm not saying that, but they're not going to be like as big. Instead of like, for instance, Scarlett Johansson getting 20 million off the top, and then she'll get another 10% of the box office gross after so-and-so threshold. She'll get 15 million or 10 million upfront, so still lots of money. And she'll get like 3% after a certain threshold, and she'll get like 2% of the streaming premium revenue, something like that. There's going to be like new deals to account for a new reality, but it's still going to be less money, and it's going to be less money in every single link because they call those movies tent poles for a reason. Those are the movies from which they plan the entire year strategy. Those movies are the ones that bring in the money that allows the studio to do everything else. Those movies are what maintain the agents and their salary and the entire power structure. So I think it's going to be like a huge shock to the elite of the industry, but no one else is going to notice much. That's what I think about that. And so with that, yeah, don't everyone talk all at once.
Well, no, I mean, I mean, that's exactly what I was saying. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm watching the box office. I'm even a fan now of the box office numbers. I'm watching them weekly now, almost daily. I mean, certainly every Sunday, Monday, I'm looking to see what they do Thursday, Friday. I'm just absolutely just obsessed with watching what they have, because on that Disney call, when they talked about the experiment, which that poor little actor got wrong, but when they talked about
doing a separate video on that as a follow-up, like talk about making a quote that backfired.
Oh golly, I mean, but in any event, so when Chapek talks about flexibility, to see these different releases happen and see the numbers that they do or don't generate, combined with watching what their subscriber count is, to the extent that we're able to, at least domestically, that is a telling tale as to what the future looks like for Hollywood, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. I agree with you completely. And then we have, let's see here, because we just got one on screen. Rob Adamson 1 says for $5, everything going on shows the utter moral, intellectual, and fiscal bankruptcy of the expert class across the Western world, echoing Afghan disaster. And yeah, you're not wrong. We certainly see that in Hollywood, don't we? I mean, without like any comparisons beyond that, I think what we're seeing right now is like an elite that thought that they knew everything are learning in a very difficult way that they didn't.
Yeah, well, you know what they learned? They had to learn the same thing. I mean, too bad Marx didn't learn this in his life, but you can't have these ideas of how you want things to be lazy as hell, and just throw ideas out without any solutions that actually work. I mean, to me, all of this boils down to: are you willing to do the hard work, and are you willing to bust butt every day? And I think that's why we as fans appreciate good creative properties and good creative work, because because we're all hard workers. We work hard for the little bit of money to go to the movies, to buy a DVD, to hell, even some of the stuff, to send a super chat. Even, I mean, we work hard for the money, for every $2, $5, $10 that we put out in our fandom for something we love, buying an action figure, buying a classic movie that all of a sudden now is in 4K. God knows now I've got a 4K budget. But the point of the matter is that we work so hard for these things. These Hollywood people are crazy. They don't understand that if you don't work hard, good things don't happen. They don't just magically, mystically happen in a vacuum. They don't.
No, it took a long time to get to this point. And with that, let's go back to the classic super chats. Because now we have, let's see, Dark Saber Force, who says for $2, I hate that island of Dr. Moreau ruined Fairuza Balk's career. Yeah, I agree with that. I liked Fairuza Balk. I would have liked to seen her in plenty more stuff. She was so good in Return to Us. That was like the first place I saw her, and she was so good in, what was it, The Craft? She had like this really unique appearance. She had like that it factor. It's a shame she has been in very few things since The Island of Dr. Moreau. I kind of like that movie.
You did?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good movie, but it was entertainment for its sheer schlock value. I can see that. Like a schlock. Like I do like me some good B movies. Like I love like the 90s direct to video movies like Automatic with Olivia Gruner and Frank Sagarino, stuff like that. So
oh my God,
I'm absolutely the guy to like me some Island of Dr. Moreau.
So here I thought you were a classic Cecil D. Citizen.
Oh, I'm that too. One doesn't have to rule out the other.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Oh yeah, like one thing I enjoy for what they do intellectually, but at the same time, just watching Frank Sagarino as a blonde-eyed android going in and blowing stuff up is entertaining as hell.
So what did you think of the Rambo movies? Just real quick, and we'll get back to super chats. I mean,
I love Rambo movies. They're awesome.
No wonder we get along. Okay, cool. Back to the super chats.
Yeah, back to the super chats. And just Nova said for $4.99. What is even more dangerous is when studios may take advantage of deepfakes and create their own face and hire a body that won't cost millions. That is a good point. That is a very good point. Talk about uncanny valley. I'm going to read that one more time since I can't bring it up on screen. Just Nova said, what is even more dangerous is when studios may take advantage of deepfakes and create their own face and hire a body that won't cost millions. Kind of like video game companies do. They create a character that has no real human counterpart. Imagine we get to that. I mean, at that point, you can like ask, is it a movie or is it like is it animated? What is it? Because basically, then you're talking about an animated character that appears in live-action movies. That's a very interesting philosophical conundrum. What do you think about that?
Well, I play a lot of video games. I'm getting back into it now that I got my rig set up again. But damn, that's a very profound observation. I mean, literally, that's
I hadn't even thought about that. But
that's one of the super chats that just stuns you. So, and that's why I love this chat stream. You guys always have really good points and good insight. Shit, man, that's crazy.
I love our audience. What was the original question?
Yeah, no, it was more of an observation. So I'm going to read it now for the third time. But it's so good. It's so good that it bears repeating. It was a super chat from Just Nova, who said, "What is even more dangerous is when studios may take advantage of deep fakes and create their own face and hire a body that won't cost millions."
Well, isn't that what that one Al Pacino movie was about? Simone? He makes you never see. Oh, that's a good movie. He makes a fake actress, and she becomes super famous.
Yeah, well,
she doesn't exist.
Yeah, sounds like it. But you know what? I can see a usage for it. I can see, like, for instance, adaptations of like our favorite properties. Like, for instance, say Conan. You all know that I'm a huge fan of Conan the Barbarian, and there really isn't a person on the planet that can do that right. I've always said if I had to choose, I'd go with Henry Cavill. But if you could do that, if you could use deep faking and combine like the body of a real person and then use a face to make Frank Frazetta's Conan come to life with a little bit of John Buscema in there, I'd be surprisingly okay with that. I mean, it's a really interesting conundrum.
No, I agree. It's a very big possibility. But yeah, Simone, it's not a great film. I shouldn't say that. It's interesting idea.
Yeah, if it was that great, I'm sure I at least would have heard about it.
Pacino's in it, though. That's all that matters.
Okay, just because, but I mean, both Pacino and De Niro have been a bunch of drivel. Let's not deny it.
I'm not going to argue that point. I won't argue with that.
Yeah. And then moving on with the super chats, although that was a really interesting one, so kudos. Christian Coralejo says for $5, unrelated, but the MCU is now superheroes in trouble with Eternals being people in spacesuits. Use the acronyms and thank Clownfish TV for them. Okay. MCU is superheroes in trouble, Eternals people in spacesuits. Okay. Yeah, well, kudos to Clownfish. And Commander Ed Straker of Shadow says next Bruce Willis is Clutch Cargo.
Clutch Cargo. Oh God.
Yeah. And
that's where they do the still images with the real mouths over it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Like those stupid like late night comedians would do all the time.
Yes.
Having like this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well. Might as well, because Bruce Willis is just going to allow it as long as he gets his paycheck and doesn't have to get out of bed. I'm sure he'd be perfectly fine with it. And then Joachim Stark says, deepfake Congo with all original cast. And Aaron Rogers says for $5, existing actors selling their image to look younger is fine. They're always wearing wigs and makeup to look younger anyways.
We grabbed that one when it was live, yeah.
Yeah, and Primer says for $5, to quote Dr. Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park, they were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Then you patent it, and you slapped it on a lunchbox, and you want to sell it. You want to sell it.
And then the restart point says Michael Crichton's film Looker defined deep faking in 1981. Oh, I have to check that movie out. I haven't even seen that.
I don't think I've seen that one either. Yeah, Looker.
Yeah, no,
Looker?
That's news to me.
Looker.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Well, it goes on the list then. Thanks for the tip. I'm always up for some good Michael Crichton. Why
am I not surprised he's the one who did it too, right?
Yeah.
He's always ahead of his time.
Yeah, and then we have Loki07, who says for $5, yay! With deepfakes, we will have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man until Kingdom Come. Let's celebrate the death of creativity and nuance.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Mikey has already said he's not above replacing the actors, and we know they're not. And did we miss Professor Gray's super chat, or do we just not come
or have we not gotten to
That's
it?
what I was curious.
I think that's more likely that we haven't gotten to it. We are a little bit behind here.
Yeah, we're bouncing around a little bit too.
Yeah, so we are bouncing around. And then Aaron Rogers says, would you want to see a deep-faked Beatles reunion with John and George digitally inserted into the video but the same age as Paul and Ringo? No, because I'd rather see Yellow Submarine one more time, or the first time. Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's one caveat to that, because they kind of did that with Free as a Bird and the other one that they released with the Real Love, but the videos themselves were kind of really like oddball. I mean, unless they managed to put together another couple of new Beatles songs, no, because I don't want some fake ass bullshit, and I don't need some fake ass video to go along with it. But like, yeah, if they managed to pull together some recordings of George and John and put together some songs like they did Free as a Bird or something like that, then I wouldn't be above seeing a music video of them, kind of put back together. Like, it would have been, kind of a cool thing, but no, outside of that, no. What about you, Mike? What about you, Andre?
Yeah, no, I would have said, no, I think I'm good.
No, okay.
Because, again, it would just be like a pure fiction and wishful thinking and stuff like that. Yeah. I'd rather have real or not at all.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I stepped away for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know that after I said something. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Victus. Like I said, unless they found, because that's what they did for Free as a Bird and Real Love, is they took tracks that John had recorded, and then the other three just embellished upon them. Now you've got a point where two are gone, so you'd have to find stuff that John and George did and refurbish it somehow, and you're getting even farther away from the mothership as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, you'd be getting into the territory when they basically faked a bunch of Michael Jackson songs at Sony and got busted.
Yeah, that's pretty much where you would be. That's exactly right. And then moving on from there, Wildman Beyond says for $5, I wouldn't mind a new Death Wish movie with Charles Bronson deepfaked. He's such a forgotten action star. He was as big as Clint Eastwood. Yes, he was indeed. Challenge is that I don't think that there's demand for or sufficient demand for any more Death Wish with Charles Bronson that anyone in Hollywood would care. They'd probably wonder, Death Wish? What was that? Like, that's a Bruce Willis movie? Charles Bronson? Who's that? How many followers does he have on Instagram? They would, seriously, like, the people doing Real Life, they wouldn't even know who he is.
I have a wish.
I'm not saying that's a good thing, but that's how it is.
Charles Bronson.
Yeah. And then Dashty says, whoa, can they have Boseman's head on Brie Larson's body and ScarJo's butt and legs? Then Brie will have talent and look female and tick all the boxes.
I don't think deepfake will give you talent.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And then Cultured Casino says, I think they will figure out quickly that budgets can't afford this new model. Exactly, that's what I was saying too. And then Michael Miller said, oh, this is interesting. Breaking news. Paramount Plus to shut down in Nordic Nation.
Yeah, I was saving
we have a link. So, yeah, let's get into that.
Saving that for after the Super Chats, but we can grab this real quick. Evidently, Paramount Plus will shut down in the Nordics and launch Comcast, Viacom, CBS's Sky Showtime.
Hail and thanks to Michael Miller for your super chat for getting that into today's show, brother. Thank you.
Yes, a few people actually sent me this, but yeah, he was one of them. Viacom CBS has decided to phase out Paramount Plus in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Finland less than a year after launching the streamer in the Nordics. to be replaced by the new Sky Showtime service coming in 2022. So another failed experiment for CBS. On Wednesday, Comcast and Viacom-CBS announced their formation of a joint venture will introduce the Sky Showtime subscription video on-demand service in 22 European territories. Starting next year, Sky Showtime will include content from NBC Universal, Sky, and Viacom-CBS brands. Now, here we go. This is exactly what we were talking about. Some of them kind of amalgamizing their stuff here, wasn't it?
Honestly, so they're saying that they're shutting down Paramount Plus in the Nordic, including Norway, which is my country. I didn't know Paramount Plus was here. I'm serious. I was like thinking like this is something that this is like an American exclusive that will be like getting.
Well, that's true because you didn't have to get. That's true. I didn't even think of that because you didn't even have to get Paramount Plus to watch all the Star Trek shit. It was on Netflix.
No, it was on Netflix. Yeah.
Oh, poor that's Paramount! Right. Wow.
I already have the King Tut Beavis and Butthead collection, and then what the hell?
Oh, their collection of Beavis and Butthead on there sucks donkey balls.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
I accidentally bought the newer episodes on Amazon because I was trying to watch them because I had Paramount Plus when we were doing. I can't remember if it was Discovery or Picard, whichever one was last. And I went to watch some Beavis and Butthead, and I wanted to watch some of the newer ones, and I accidentally bought the new episodes because I had credits and didn't realize it because I thought they should have been on Paramount Plus. They're not. Only those select old episodes from Volume 1 through 3 are. That's all they are. It's just the uploads of the DVDs.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So again, when I already have something better and I can get Star Trek elsewhere, I mean, not that I care anymore because they killed it for me, then what the hell do I want Paramount Plus for? But seriously,
well,
I didn't even make it this deliberate choice not to have it because I didn't know it was available. I didn't think it was an option.
Yeah, and it wouldn't piss me off so much, Andre, but I have those Blu-rays. I just didn't want to go digging for them. I'm like, oh, I got Paramount Plus. I just want to watch a couple of new episodes, the newer episodes of Beavis and Butthead. Not brand new from like 2012 or whatever they were from, way back when. Or even later than that, actually. It was like 2008, 9, somewhere. I don't even remember now. But it was like 10 years ago, whatever. Yeah. And so I basically paid for something I already owned that should have been free on Paramount Plus.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this goes with something I commented on Mead, which is that Comcast is pushing back.
I think this shows that Comcast is the bigger hit. This is what Script Doctor was saying, is that Peacock is doing much better because of the way they launched it.
Yeah.
And this proves that Paramount Plus is a failed experiment. They can't do it on their own.
Everything Paramount does is a failed experiment. Everything.
Yes, B. Jordan says here with $5. Thank you so much for that. Crom laughs at your 4 wins. He laughs from his mountain.
So, that's a great quote right there. But I'm amazed, and I'm amazed that I had the opportunity to have Paramount Plus, and now it's taken away. Like, I don't care, but like,
Paramount
no wonder it failed here. Well, not
I mean, if
I didn't know.
Exactly. If Andre doesn't know about Paramount Plus being in his country and now it's being canceled, no wonder they failed. I mean, this is too rich.
Well, what would they have to offer you over there? Everything that they would have to offer.
But the point is, he didn't even know it was an option. This shows how moronic these execs are. They're all morons. They're just different kinds of morons.
Well, STR Redwill says, didn't I ask about this great merger a month or so ago? We're seeing the signs here. Can I get it? I knew it. I think you can.
I think you can.
I think you deserve it. Let me get that up here.
While waiting, you get one of these.
We got too many buttons. I need less buttons.
Sorry, boss.
No, I need it because I can't find it. They keep changing the shit on me. Here it is.
I fucking knew
it. Oh, fucking Paramount.
Wah.
I'm amazed because like the Disney Plus commercials are everywhere. Like everyone knows that there's Disney Plus.
Oh my God! If I see another one, I just want every time I see one somewhere. So I see it on my phone, I see it on my iPad, I see it on my computer. It comes across my screen. I'm watching TV. I'm trying to watch Major League Baseball. It comes across in the commercial break. Ah.
Yeah, and also Evil Teddy. He points out. Never saw any advertising here in Finland for Paramount Plus. Yeah, like he just lost it too, and he didn't know it was an option.
It might only be on Amazon, I wonder.
Yeah, but there's no ads for Amazon. I mean, no one here knows that you can go to Amazon to watch movies. I mean, people here, they go to Netflix. They go to like HBO Nordic. They might have gone to Paramount Plus if they freaking knew.
Wait, can we have like if I sell some oranges on the side of the road and I go do the tortilla harvest and Tom, you do some voiceovers, can we raise enough money and just buy this thing from these morons and run it ourselves?
I wish, because then I could get my hands on Ninja Turtles.
Exactly, that's exactly where I'm going.
Oh God! And then somebody, I'd let Script and Robert Meyer Burnett probably handle Star Trek, and
life would be so good. It's coming, ladies.
Anyway,
Critical Drinker would probably do some cool shit with
guys.
Mission
I'm gonna duck out. I gotta go to.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Mike.
thanks for being here. Much appreciated.
We're gonna get to the rest of these super chats anyway. So
bye, everybody in chat stream. See y'all later, and I'll be listening from the road. But I gotta jump.
Well, you'll be on Midnight's Edge Espanol in the morning tomorrow, right?
I think Paulie's coming back.
Tomorrow. Oh, Paulie back tomorrow?
Yeah, Paul is back. Paul is back.
Yeah, I think he's coming back. I mean, I will be there in the back
gotcha.
in the studio. And then everybody, I'll see y'all tomorrow on Mead. And okay, I gotta go. See you guys later. Bye.
Take care, Mike.
Take care. And then
what else we got?
Michael Millard. Oh, yeah, we just got that one. Nicholas Horton says for £5. Tom sent you an update about the CGI He-Man on Twitter DMs.
I saw that a little bit.
Yeah, go check that out while I go through the rest here.
A lot of those pictures I saw already, but let me...
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm going to go through the other super chats. Erik Winberg says, hail Midnight's Edge and chat. Well, thank you, and hail to you. Hail to you. Hail one, hail all. Professor Gray 2 says for $5, when will the big media groups like Disney, Amazon tell the internet groups put a better network in America? We did not spend this much for nothing.
They won't.
Yeah, I don't know. You tell us. You're the American here. You have to chime in on that.
No, they won't. Because even for me, like, I've got the best internet I can get around, and it's pretty decent. But I wanted to go a little higher, and I would have had to have done like a bunch of business lines and shit, and it would have cost me a shit ton of money. It's like, it's ridiculous to get decent internet in the U.S. But yeah, we got a few new pictures. This is one we've already seen, but now we have our first look at Man-at-Arms, who has no face.
That's different.
Well, I guess he's underneath this blue thing here.
Oh, yeah, I see. That's a helmet, so there's like better protection now.
And then we got to look at what looks like...
what the hell is
Snake Mountain? Or
no,
Skeletor's throne with a snake, I guess. I don't fucking know. That's what we got, though. And, of course, Skeletor we've already seen, too. So
yeah.
There we go.
All right, cool. And again, I would like to stress that series right there, it's not for us. It's for the next generation. It's for kids that were the same age that we were when the original was coming out. And the original designs don't work because they were a product of the time, of the Frazetta era stuff when that was cool. New kids were growing up today. We're growing up with Disney Plus and Disney Junior and Nick Jr. and stuff. You present them to He-Man, they're going to wonder what that quaint stuff that is. So it has to be adapted to that. And I'm fine with that. That's what you have to do to make sure the brand survives and prevails even after us. So yeah, I hope they're successful. And with that, back to the classic super chats. Then we have, let's see, we got that one. We got that one. We got that one, because now there are some that we've had already. Dash D says Die Hard Cruella 2. Who needs actors? Yeah, there you go. And Cetho GBR says for €4.99, CGI Sean Young in Blade Runner 2 was the best I've ever seen. Maybe expensive as f, and good use from an artistic viewpoint, not only for marketing. I don't recall that scene right now, but yeah, if it was good, then perfect. And then Rob Adamson 1 says for $5, everything going on shows the utter moral, intellectual, and physical bankruptcy. Yeah, we got that one too. And then Stephen Otten says for $10, Die Hard 3 was partially shot in South Carolina. I knew someone who worked on the movie. He said Bruce Willis was a cool guy who hung out with the crew between takes. I want that Bruce Willis back.
Well, that's the funny thing that Kevin Smith said is, working with him in that capacity where he wasn't in charge, he was a dreamboat. Like, that's why he hired him for Cop Out. But then when he came there in Cop Out, and when Kevin was in charge and the dynamics had changed, Bruce turned into a completely different person. So, again, it all seems like who you are and how Bruce treats you. Like, if you're somebody who has some kind of authority over him, he treats you like garbage, I guess. Or if you're somebody who he doesn't have the time for. But I'm sure he's, everybody has bad days and they're very gracious, but there's just too many stories of his controlling the set and other crap like that. Like, he just won't come out of his trailer until he's damn good and ready, won't say lines that he don't want to say, and just cause a big disturbance for the crew and the director. And like, I guess after the whole thing with Cop Out, the director from Die Hard with Live Free or Die Hard come and called Kevin and said, now you know what I was dealing with. Because he's like, yeah, I didn't think he was that bad. But I'm like, holy shit. Because like, I guess he's like, he really stressed that director out. Like, he'll never work with him again, I heard. So
I've heard too. And then we have, and this is one we actually can bring up on screen, Nicholas Horton. I think this is in reference to the He-Man pitch we just saw. The Facebook link also has concept art for all of the characters, including ones we ain't seen yet. All right, cool. We shall take a look at that. Meanwhile, I do believe that we are fully caught up. So then I would like
get Prof. Gray's super chat or whatever.
Yeah, let me check. I'm just going to remind everyone: listen to Natasha. She's the wrench, and she says, "Hit that like button if you have not yet. Please do." And then, who was I looking for? Tell me again.
Prof. Gray.
Prof. Gray. Okay, I'm going to have a look here, just to make sure. Prof. Gray. Yes, we did that. We got it. That was like, when will they tell the internet groups to put up a better network in America? Yeah. So
we just haven't got to it yet. All right. Well, here's a look at Skeletor, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, that's better.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
Toy, that's for sure.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. And I'm not seeing any other ones. So
he said Facebook group. That's on Twitter.
Oh, Facebook group. Okay. That makes a difference.
Yeah, I should imagine so.
Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In our Facebook group, or
that I don't know. There's a link in some Facebook group. He wasn't clear.
I get a lot of links for a lot.
Yeah, we get so much of that.
You'd be surprised. I don't get much porn.
Well, actually, I do that because there's like some people. Every time there's like, I have like one guy. I didn't ask for it, but it happens like every single time. There's like a new like fappening thing or like new celebrity leak and stuff like that. This guy always sends me those leaks in an email. I was like, oh well, thank you. I didn't ask for that, but thanks anyway. And the funny thing, he started during Ghostbusters. With the Leslie Jones hack. That was how I learned about that, because I got those pictures straight in my face. I did not need to see that. And the Leslie Jones nude leaks are very, very sexually explicit. And if you ever wondered if Leslie Jones engages in backdoor action, it is answered in those pictures. I did not wonder that question, but I still got it answered. So, it never stopped. So, yeah, good times.
Well, and then Robert Meyer Burnett was so drunk the other night he was asking for dick pics, so I can imagine what he woke up to.
Yeah, that should be
He was
be
jokingly asking, but I'm like, you realize now, and I sent him one on a joking one. There's a guitar pic that says dick on it, but yeah.
And also, I would like to.
And Yellow Flash is trying to eat here.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. And Six also didn't wonder about the answer to that. And just look at the reactions here to that thing, and it's like funny on that particular thing because you like this huge thing when like all the celebrity leaks, new sex tapes and everything like that got out. Like that event was called the Fappening. And then it was the Leslie Jones leaks. You know what that was called? The Great Blindening.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah. As Sailor Sonic says, moving on. So, yeah. And Chris Neville, he was like, yeah, well, I wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only one traumatized by that. And Mr. Dragon was like, I just ate. So yeah, Yellow Flash, you got it worse. Like someone actually finished their meal first. So, did you find any more pictures, Tom?
No, sadly I did not. But I'm not real good at navigating through social media either. So
well, then we may do an update or something like that.
Like Jesse started the Discord thing, and I don't know how many ways to tell him I don't know how to Discord.
Yeah, well, we have to learn then. I mean, we have it now, so yeah.
I know.
He's going to have to teach us since he claims it's so incredibly easy.
Learn nothing new.
With that, I'm just going to do a double check here, but I do believe that we are fully caught up. Just going to do a quick double check.
Yeah.
And yes, we are fully caught up. So with that, I would just like to remind everyone that we have a video that will be dropping. I think we're probably going to drop it in 25 minutes here. We have a video on how Kevin Smith didn't just ruin He-Man. He also ruined Skeletor, and in ways hitherto unknown for most people. So we have a very detailed breakdown of that coming in 25 minutes. The live link is going to be up here very, very shortly. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to put that in the private chat here. With that, what else do we have planned the rest of the week,
Horton,
Tom?
Right? I'm looking for Nicholas Horton.
You or what?
Yeah.
Well, look for that for later.
Oh, he wanted me to look up the pictures on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, maybe he can let us know in the chat.
All right. Well, that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And I can't find. I'm not any good at this social media.
We'll do an update on it.
Nobody. You got to either send it to me direct or tag me in it because I have no idea where I'm looking. Yeah. To me, I'm just scrolling. I really suck at social media, guys. You have no idea.
Yeah, and Nicholas Horton, he just said, I've posted the actual Facebook link now. Oh, you didn't have to send a super chat for that, but we thank you anyway.
Okay, where is it? Where did you post the link?
Yeah, and you don't have to send a super chat. Just tell us where.
He can't post the link in the thing. It may show up on his end, but it's probably not coming through. Because unless you're a wrench, you can't post links.
And Six wonders, what are we looking for? Now we're looking for a Facebook link to all of the new He-Man toys, like the designs of the animated series. And speaking of that note, in 20 minutes, we have a video premiere for you that's also related to He-Man. That is how Skeletor was messed up by Kevin Smith as well, in ways hitherto unknown. So just go and hit that link right there, and just we'll see you there for that premiere.
And I am not. I'm really sorry. Twitter is a little easier. Oh, there it is. Okay. HT. That's you. Oh, that's yours. Never mind.
Yeah, well, boomers are going to boom it.
Well, the other problem is there's a Nicholas Horton that plays for the Bucks, so that's the only thing I can get to come up on fucking Facebook. We're obviously friends on Twitter, so why don't you just DM me? Oh, here it is. Okay, I got it. He did it. Thank you. Okay. Got it. These are really tiny, but here we go. I suck at social media. I apologize. But these come from Collector's Toys, I guess. I don't know if you guys can really see these that well, but that's the size they come up.
He-Man looks good.
Not too shabby.
I mean, I'm liking this. I mean, it's not made for me. I'm too old for this. This is made for kids. I prefer that Teela over the one we're getting in Revelations.
I can't get the other 13 to open up though. It just opens up this one.
Well, go back and hit the plus.
I did.
See there?
I just did.
Well, okay. Well, we'll figure it out, and we'll do another video on it later. But
these are like teeny tiny pictures. I can't get it to do anything. I don't know why.
Well, we'll sort it out for later. But that's the first image I've seen of that He-Man and that Teela, and I have to say I'm liking it.
I don't like what Teela looks like. What is wrong with this? Why is this coming up in such a weird way? It's not coming up like normal Facebook. Why do I have such fucking problems with social media?
Well, I don't think it's just you. But with that, then we'd like to say thank you for
trying, Nicholas. I mean,
yeah, Nicholas, he'll send all the pictures. So yeah,
perfect. Okay, thank you.
But
yeah.
we'll do them on Friday, I think.
I think so.
For right now, then, as I said earlier, we have a video premiere in exactly 20 minutes about how Kevin Smith ruined Skeletor 2, so do check that out. It's on the Watch Pig. You'll find it on the main channel there. We also had a link there, but that disappeared. And with that, I do believe it is time for some koalas in the rain. And we'd also like to say to everyone for joining us today.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.